working in that space. And they do amazing things. They span industries. They do everything from medtech to biotech, robotics, AI, you name it. And that's what we're all about. But not only are we a science-based incubator, we are a program-driven incubator. Now what on earth does that mean? Well, it is what makes Cicada very unique and special. We're program-driven. It means that we fund, invest time and effort in ideas through accelerator programs like GrowLab. We find these ideas, we nurture them long-term because we've got an incubator that sits behind these programs and can provide longer-term support. And that is key because we know science-based innovation takes time. But we know that it's worthwhile taking that time because when these ideas come to fruition, they have the potential of having real, meaningful impact. In fact, they have the potential to change the world for a better place, and that is what we're all about at Cicada. That's why we exist. That's what we do. Science-based innovation. Now, before we kick off tonight, I'd like to thank a couple of people. First of all, I have to thank the MLA Donor Company. Without the MLA Donor Company, GrowLab would not have come into existence. So thank you, MLA Donor Company, for being an amazing partner and for making GrowLab possible. Couldn't have done it without you. We knew there were lots of ideas in agtech. Gosh, we knew that. We knew there wasn't a vehicle to commercialize these ideas, but we needed MLA Donor Company to come along beside us and have that vision for us to be able to validate what we already knew. That Australia can be a leader, will be a leader in agri-food tech. Now, I also want to thank the core program team of GrowLab. I don't know where they are right now, but Tristan Forbes over here, General Manager of this co-op of GrowLab. Thank you so much, Tristan, for everything you've done with the companies. And of course also George Pepu, who I will welcome to the stage shortly. So, again, thank you for coming tonight. I know that you're in for a real treat. You're going to have an amazing evening. And now I'm going to leave the stage to George, Program Manager for GrowLab, to talk to you about the program, and most important of all, the graduates of the program. George.
Wow. There are a lot of you here tonight. Just over a year ago, GrowLab was an idea, and now we've packed out this massive venue, and a special thank you to all those up there in the nosebleed section. So for those of you wondering what GrowLab is Cicada's agri-food tech accelerator, where we empower ambitious agri-food founders to build the food system of the future. Tonight, you're going to hear from some of those founders. And they're doing everything from working out better ways to plant and manage our crops, through to entirely new ways of producing food, and even better ways of packaging and distributing that food. Right now in Australia, agri-food tech is booming. In 2013, there were 6 investments in agri-food tech startups. Last year, there were 51. And this year's even bigger, punctuated by massive deals like AgriDigital's $5.5 million round and AgriWeb's $14 million round. And even with all this activity, there's still so much more to do. Agriculture is still Australia's least digitised industry, and the food system has big, meaty challenges for people to dig into, and how we process, transport, and package our food. So tonight, you're going to hear from our second crop. But before you do, I want to acknowledge and celebrate the amazing things our first crop have done. These 6 companies, between them, have raised more than $6.1 million. They employ more than 40 people, and they have customers on 2 continents. And all of this from 8 unfunded founders, or 8 founders that were unfunded just 10 months ago. So we're really, really proud of what they're doing. And tonight we're really excited to reveal our second crop. We've worked really intensely with these companies for the last 12 weeks, surrounding them with all the resources they need to grow their business. including all of us going away as a group to regional centres like Armidale and Toowoomba to get closer to customers. But our most important resource is by far our amazing network of mentors. These mentors have been handpicked to bring the best expertise in agriculture and food, venture investment, and building great businesses. And I'd like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge these mentors for everything they've done so far and will continue to do for these companies. I've also got a really exciting announcement tonight. We're lucky enough to have West Farmers Chemical, Energy and Fertiliser sponsoring a $3,000 cash prize for the best pitch of the evening. We're going to be announcing this right after the pitches wrap up. So, without further ado, let's get on to the pitches. Tonight, you'll hear from the 6 companies in GrowLab's second crop. We're going to run these pitches back to back without anyone getting up to introduce them and without questions. They'll all be along this side of the room afterwards, so you can go up and have a chat and ask them all the questions you want. So please give a very, very warm welcome to our first pitch, Kimberly.
Caropac. Now, despite what you have seen in media today, packaging is good. It is solely responsible for enclosing, protecting, and extending the shelf life of our fresh produce, and ultimately saves 46% of our fresh fruit and veggies going straight to landfill. However, this amount of fresh produce ends up in this amount of plastic waste. And plastic waste is a real problem. So retailers are aware of this. However, they don't actually package the fresh produce. Farmers and pack houses do. So what's happening in Australia is major retailers are calling farmers and personally threatening them and to not stock their produce until they move into a more sustainable form of packaging. So what is out there for farmers to use? Well, I'm sure you've all heard of plant-based biodegradable plastics. However, what you may not know is that these plastics still take 5 years to fully biodegrade and contribute just as much to waste streams as traditional plastics. But not to fear, Caropac is here, and we have managed to develop a fully sustainable, durable, and compostable plastic alternative. Our material is made out of waste crustacean shells, of which there are 8 million tons of this waste generated from frozen food processing alone. So that's just one source of this waste. So we're taking a waste product, using our proprietary formulation to make pallets, trays, and sleeves for fresh produce packaging. What's more is the embedded antifungal properties of our material further extend shelf life and ultimately saves more fresh fruits and veggies from going straight to landfill. So, once you finish with your Caropac package, simply toss it into your garden and it will fully decompose within a matter of weeks. Alternatively, just chuck it into a compost or green bin. Australia alone consumes 350 million pallets of strawberries. That's 4,000 tons of plastic waste. We are starting with 6 of the major strawberry pack houses and producing 140 million pallets to eradicate 1,600 tons of plastic waste. And that's just strawberries. We are going to move into further fresh produce categories in Australia and globally. Furthermore, our material is also appropriate for meat packaging, plastic bags, and a whole range of other consumables. I dare you to imagine the Caropac impact. So how are we doing this? Well, currently, we're producing a small scale and actually sourcing the pre-processed crustacean shells. Ultimately, we're going to set up a pilot facility in order to set up production for our first few customers. We are going to continue to grow with partners including Woolworths to scale up our production, increase our economies of scale, and vertically integrate our operations to include a crustacean waste processing system so we can personally deal with that waste. Ultimately, that will decrease our input costs and make us almost price competitive with traditional plastics. We're a uniquely qualified team from chemistry, agricultural, and business backgrounds who are passionate about solving this plastic waste problem. And we have all of these companies chomping at the bit to trial our new packaging. So over the next 2 months, we are forming prototypes to trial it with their processes. Going forward, we are asking for $500,000 in order to set up this pilot facility, as well as make key hires, including a process engineer. If you have any questions, please feel free to come to me afterwards. I'm Kimberly from Caropac, and we are changing the world of packaging.
Good evening, I'm Phil, the founder of Sustinent. We turn green waste into food. I've been in biotech for nearly 20 years, but secretly I've always wanted to be an insect farmer. Tonight, I'm going to tell you how we're going to solve some big world problems with bugs. Whoops, skipped one. This material is the tops and leaves of sugarcane. They call it trash because it's worthless and it just gets in the way. There's 130,000 tonnes of this trash produced in New South Wales alone each year. Farmers are so desperate to get rid of it, they set the cane on fire. The farmers don't like doing it, the public doesn't like what it does to the air quality, and there's calls to end this tradition. We're going to solve this problem. Sustinent has developed a unique bioprocess to transform that cane trash into food for insects. We're going to feed that material to hundreds of millions of hungry bugs. Those insects can be processed into a high-protein powder. There is a ready market for this material as poultry feed. We know this because we've spoken to poultry farmers, animal nutritionists, and some of Australia's leading stock feed manufacturers. Because happy chooks eat bugs, and happy chooks are plump and lay better eggs. At the back end, our byproduct is a rich soil conditioner, another valuable commodity. We are currently negotiating a contract to take that 130,000 tonnes of cane trash. By processing that material into those valuable products, we will generate $15 million of revenue each year. And that's just the start. There's millions of tonnes of green waste across Australia that we can utilise. And that's important because we need a lot of livestock feed. And currently, we can't grow enough of it in Australia. Many of us might not realise that Australia imports nearly 1 million tonnes of soy meal. That's more than $500 million worth each year. We can replace that with insect protein grown in Australia. But we are also global from day one. Europe imports 18 million tonnes of soy meal. That's nearly, or around, 7 billion euros. And there are a number of well-established and well-funded insect farms already in Europe. But they need access to abundant and clean inputs. There's hundreds of millions of tonnes of green waste in Europe that the Sustinent process will unlock. I'm determined to see insect farming play a great role in the world's future. And if you share that vision, I want to talk to you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James from AreaCrop. We help farmers make the most out of their soil moisture. Everyone in this room knows it's dry right now. And making the most out of our water resources is more important than ever. Just about every on-farm activity requires a good knowledge of your water, from sowing the seed to fertilising, to knowing if you've got the right conditions when harvest time comes around. But the current methods for measuring water in the soil just aren't up to scratch. Sure, soil moisture probes are an option, but they represent just one point on a farm that could extend to thousands of hectares. Remote sensing products exist, but they're too broad for agricultural management. AreaCrop is a software as a service platform that provides farmers with up-to-date maps of the soil moisture across their farm. Simply log on to our online service and provide your farm boundary and instantly receive an up-to-date measurement of the moisture distribution across your farm. Areas on a farm with different moisture will yield differently and require different fertiliser inputs. Our maps allow farmers to take action and make management decisions that match their soil moisture. Our unique four-dimensional algorithm allows us to integrate data of different resolution, frequency and type to provide our maps at a scale and timing unparalleled in the industry. We integrate data across radiometrics, soil data, satellite, probe and climate data to provide our maps at a 30-metre grid throughout the whole rooting depth of a crop every day. For an average farmer on 1,800 hectares, 40% of their input costs goes towards fertiliser. This can be over $100,000 every year. For just $3 per hectare per year, AreaCrop provides them with the knowledge they need to not over or under allocate inputs. We've trialled our product on more than 20 farms in southern New South Wales, over 100,000 hectares. We identified the Eastern Australian grain belt as our starting location due to the versatility of cropping grown here and the variable conditions. We intend to expand our services to agronomists and crop consultants in the next year for expanding internationally in 2021 across different growing conditions. Our team has university research backed out of the Sydney Institute of Agriculture across fields of soil science, hydrology, data science and precision agriculture. And I'd love to ask if anyone in the crowd could put us in contact with more farmers, growers, agronomists or agricultural service providers. Once again, I've been James from AreaCrop, where we help farmers make the most out of their soil moisture.
Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Neumeier, one of the co-founders of Bitwoke. We are taking artificial intelligence to every corner of the world. You all know about AI from Google, IBM, Amazon. They're amazing. The problem with conventional cloud AI is that you have to send all the data from the field up into data centres. So in areas where there's poor or no connection, it doesn't work. When our team were deploying IoT sensor networks in rural and remote areas, we could see the problem with poor connection. We could also see the pressing need to have analytics like AI out where the data is in the field. Well, you may not know that the current AI has been developed over years for big data centres, which practically have unlimited resources to run it, which means the AI behind that is enormous and it doesn't fit on edge devices. So where Bitwoke is different is that our AI is built from the ground up, where it's got the essential elements of artificial intelligence in a patent-pending solution that's really small. That's really hard. But our AI can actually run on small devices about the size of your finger, and that has a huge market. The area of edge AI is emerging, and it's estimated that it will actually spread across 80 billion devices and be a market worth $100 billion. And agriculture is the perfect application for edge AI. What you can see behind me is our technology applied to computer vision, measuring the weight in kilograms of a herd up in Armidale in New South Wales, where the farmer can get a view of the health and size of his livestock. Currently, sending animals through a weigh bridge takes them off the paddock. It's stressful and it can take a day. Our technology provides an accurate weight instantly, anywhere, without stress on the animals. Producers are really excited about the opportunity to make regular measurements, because that can help them manage and reduce their feed costs, have more animals on their same land, and also get animals to market at the right price. Precision management of their animal herd weight is something they haven't been able to do before. But agriculture is just the beginning. Our technology is industry agnostic, and we're already looking at other industries such as smart cities, healthcare and cybersecurity. In fact, we've just signed a deal for our technology to be used in the Hobart Smart Cities rollout. And remarkably, the same platform is going to be used in a trial for dementia care in Fitzroy, Victoria, with the old colonists. We're proud to open our seed round for 1.5 million, which will be used to hire 3 additional engineers and have products for customers across the industries of smart cities, healthcare and agriculture within 18 months. We'd love to speak to you at our booth. I'm Dr. Paul Neumeyer from Bitwoke. Thank you.
G'day, I'm Dave. I'm probably pretty lucky to have been brought up on the farm, around moisture and around machines. Sometimes moisture and machines. But Australia can get pretty dry and can also get pretty wet. But despite massive improvements in machinery and technology, no one has really resolved the core issue of planting in these constantly changing soil conditions. Ultimately, it's up to the farmer, who wakes up, kicks to the dirt, maybe takes some random moisture profiles before he decides if he's going to take a couple of $100 grand punt on planting his crop. And even then, he needs to spend hours setting up his planter to what he thinks might be the best way. We have a better way. Introducing our Smart Planter, a planting system with embedded sensors that is measuring and monitoring the soil moisture profile live. It is adjusting the seed depth live. It is adjusting the seed rate live. No one else does this. This means that every seed is placed in the optimal place to optimise germination. Our technology is available in full-size planter machines, as individual row units, or as replaceable sensor types. Further to that, we are offering our product with service agreements. That way the farmer is assured that it will work every season. We've spoken to a stack of farmers who are very excited by our technology. 3 of them want to be part of a trial program in April next year. This means we're going to demonstrate our tech in some of the toughest parts of regional New South Wales and Western Australia. Our projections, based on time in the field, have us building a full 12-metre planter for April next year, 5 planters for 2020, and then commercial sales and production volumes from then on through. Further to that, we'll be making retrofit kits, row units and sensors so that farmers can upgrade their existing equipment with our technology. But this is just the beginning. Over 400 broadacre planters are sold like this each year in Australia, but Australia accounts for less than 10% of the world market for dry land cropping. Countries like the US and South America are massive compared to here. From here we're adding other sensors, such as thermal, salinity and biomass, anything that helps the farmer reduce his risk in planting. It also means that we can go from just dry land cropping to all cropping. We've got this team of engineers and designers back in Orange that have been designing and building big gear like this for years. We've got this. In coming weeks, we'll start cutting metal on a small trailer-sized version of the planter so that we can verify the tech and calibrate the sensors. From then, we're on a pretty tight schedule to get the big 12-metre machine in the field by April. So what we're chasing is $1.5 million to fast-track the R&D, build those big machines and start getting these machines out there. Really, we just want to start helping these guys out.
Good evening, everybody. I am Ben from InvertiGro. Fact, by 2050, global farm output needs to increase by 75% to feed the world. Clearly, we need a smarter way to feed the world. I want to tell you about Johnny. Johnny runs Eastern Green, which is a large vegetable wholesaler, one of 1,500 in Australia that collectively accounts for $12 billion annual turnover. I asked Johnny the other day, how's business? 45 minutes later, I've heard it all. Farmers are struggling to meet demand. Consumers are being more picky. Customers are squeezing prices. And competition is threatening his business. What Eastern Green really want to do is to take control of their supply chain. They've looked into various different options, including indoor farming, but they have found that the options available are expensive and not flexible to meet their demands. At InvertiGro, we have built the InvertiCube. This is a smart, self-contained system with a variety of profiles optimized to grow different produce at the touch of a button. The system is smart and continuously learning, allowing the user to grow fast and fresh with minimal intervention from planting to harvest. The InvertiGro is based on a standard pallet size, and this allows for it to be configured and installed in any warehouse. In this manner, Eastern Green can use some of their excess warehouse space to install the InvertiCube and become a profitable indoor farm. We make money in a variety of ways. Firstly, through the sales of the InvertiCube. Then, ongoing revenues are generated through software licensing, consumables, and ongoing support and monitoring. We already have commitments to deliver the first 1,000 InvertiCubes to our 2 customers in Singapore and in Australia. This will generate revenues of $5 million. By 2020, we will further prove the business case by onboarding an additional 10 distributors. By 2025, we are not only global, but we will enter different sectors as well, from the farming sector to hospitality, food service, and retail. But wait, using the same infrastructure with minor adjustments, we can grow even more. From fruit and veg to medicinal plants, animal feed, as well as natural fibers. Over the years, we have been refining our system and also increasing the range of produce on offer and gaining market traction. To date, we have raised $1 million. We are seeking to raise a further $2 million in order to build out the systems for our first 2 customers and improve our software and control systems.